Good afternoon. It is March the 2nd. My name is Bianca, and this episode is about the trafficking that is going on in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati cartel, and how they operate. Many of the women who are prostituted through online are not aware that they are being surveillanced, okay? And the Cincinnati police, they use their clearance to do false paperwork for prostitution cartels to have a justifiable reason to surveillance females. And the females are not aware that these accusations are being made against them. They're not aware that cameras are being installed in their homes, and many of them are cataloged on a black market website with people who steal their identities, such as at the Gamble Nippert YMCA, Glenda Harris, Zachary, Marilyn Horning, Tyler Cook. There's a community of criminals that steal their customers' identity, and then they sell it to black market cartels, and then it goes from there. And many times the women and children are murdered. They're murdered before they are aware or have any knowledge that this is taking place, and this is part of their scam. And so now I would like to talk about the females who do become aware, because most of the time the female targets are not aware. They're cataloged black market. Anytime they undress or perform a sexual act, unbeknownst to them, it's being filmed and sold. And there are people in chat rooms that are pretending to be them. They sell their location, and the men meet up with them and murder them. Okay, so this is the prostitution cartel and how it's ran. But like I said, I'd like to discuss what happens when a female is aware. She becomes aware of her surroundings. Things are not right. And she starts to question or call police. She starts to reach out to women's help centers, etc., etc. What happens to those women in Cincinnati? And I'd like to talk about it. What happens is that the Cincinnati cartel consists of Hamilton County judges, lawyers, sheriffs, and Cincinnati police. So when you have the government involved, it is going to be quite difficult to voice any type of complaint. They have mental health experts already in queue and ready to do false evaluations, false incarcerations, false diagnoses. Why? To silence the criminal activities of the Cincinnati prostitution cartel. So I'd like to talk about myself a little bit and the situation that I'm going through. And, I don't want to go too deep into it. If you'd like to know a little bit more, you can listen to the other episodes. But my battle with being sex trafficked from the Cincinnati YMCA, Gamble Nippert, and my daily battle, even to this current date, of trying to remove myself from their criminal activities, it seems to follow me every place I move. And I'd like to talk about the Louise Inn that's also in Cincinnati, on how they've made deals with the Cincinnati cartel to silence me through false evictions. Several of their neighbors try to provoke fights. Just a few minutes ago, I was just at the store, and one of their Anna Louise neighbors tried to hit me, and I had to move out the way. So my point is, the cartel goes to great lengths to cover up their crimes and to silence the prostitution victims that they sell black market. So if a woman is to become aware and she's not easily unalived, as their scam is usually carried out, and I believe all across America, because it looks like this is an epidemic with judges and lawyers and their government and Freemasons using their authority and positions and jobs to steal from civilians, to exploit them, and to dispose of them within the American government system. And, talking about the Anna Louise Inn and their violence towards women, their violence toward me. I can't speak about other women, but the human trafficking that's going on at the Anna Louise Inn. Their management has agreed to install cameras in my home, and their neighbors, the neighbors that I live around, have also agreed to harass and monitor me on these surveillance systems. Okay, and so where I go, here they go, and now they're trying to provoke physical fights. Okay, so now the cartel is paying the Anna Louise Inn to provoke, physical fights. So that's something that the cartel uses as a way to falsely arrest victims. They pay people to fight or to start fights, and then they call the police. So, like, for example, the Anna Louise Inn, their management is paid by the cartel. So if I make any little sneeze, they're paid to lie. The neighbors are paid to lie, to say, hey, she's mentally ill. I know she's mentally ill, even though it's a lie, but they're paid by the cartel to, to see if they can find any little thing that they can put together to say, hey, she's crazy, she needs to be locked up. Another method the cartel uses is physical violence, okay? So they'll pay your neighbor, they'll pay someone even out in public to come up to you, to try to fight you, and then they'll have somebody in their car that will call the police. The police are already aware in Cincinnati because they're part of the cartel. They come in and they get rid of the female. They get rid of her through false arrest. So this is how this cartel operates. Like I said, if you start to speak out about the criminal activities, they pay your landlord to do false evictions. They've also paid the Anna Louise to do a false eviction, and I'm okay with that because I'm going to keep speaking out. I'm going to keep speaking out about the cartel. I'm going to keep speaking out about what's going on in their prostitution ring, child prostitution ring, and also what's going on at the Anna Louise Inn. I don't care if I have to speak about it from my car. I will speak about what's going on in an attempt to make the public aware and make women empowered as far as what's going on. Don't let anyone tell you that you're mentally ill, unless you actually are, and hey, you need some help. Hey, we all need help from time to time here. But if you know this is not your situation, if you know you're not mentally ill, that you see what you see, you've got to stick with your gut instinct, and you have to protect yourself the best way you can. And that's why I make these recordings, and in hopes that other women can find some type of information through these type of recordings, to know, hey, you're not crazy. You're not the only one that is experiencing weird situations around where you live, or what's going on. And maybe these are some answers to some of the things that you go through, as I too am seeking for answers myself. So I am in a position where I'm also seeking for answers. Yes, it's been a pleasure speaking to you all. That pretty much concludes this episode. Take care, and God bless.